And she said, like, Frank, I'm dying. I only have like, a day left. And he's like, leans in to like kiss her and he says, "Os." Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2024. This is the Bulletproof for BJJ podcast. I'm JT and I'm here with the immaculately adorned with beautiful hair, Joseph Worthington.
Thank you, brother. I shampooed and conditioned yesterday.
It looks immaculate, I've got to say. Guys, we have a very specific topic. The origins of os. Now, this is really interesting because I actually never knew this.
Came from a Brazilian, obviously. It's Portuguese.
No, not at all. Not at all. But we do use it and you hear it a bit, especially when, depending on what school you go to, there'll be some guy who just always os, like always. And it's become a bit of a cliche with like the os sensei, this kind of a thing. But it does have different historical origins and there's different attributions as to why the bloody hell do we say this thing. Did you ever encounter anybody hitting you with the os?
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to when I first heard it. I don't remember when that was, but I never knew what it meant.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the gym that I started at, as you know, was called Roots.
Yes.
And they would always, at the end of class, can't remember how it would happen, but it would be like I think we would bow or whatever, and we would say Roots. But because the coach and a lot of the guys there were Brazilian, they'd say Hoots. And so I kind of came to think that like Hoots, us, like I was like, what is this?
Is there a similarity here?
Is it? And I don't think I knew they were two different words.
Right.
It took me a long time to realize that, the Brazilians do the H sound with the R.
Yes.
But there was a guy that it makes me think of a guy that I trained with here in Sydney only a year or so ago.
Yeah.
And he said it was an open mat or whatever at Alliance in the Northern Beaches. Shout out to Fab. And it was everything he said, everything I said, his response was us. Yes. So I was like, oh, bro, you got any injuries? He was like, oh, no, I'm good. Us. And then I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So he's like, us. And like, that was, and I'm like,
what is going on?
You need to speak to me.
This is not a conversation. Well, that's the interesting thing. So let's go to where does it come from?
Okay.
Because I went on a bit of a deep dive, my friends. So it's not that any of this is gospel, but I've gone to a few different sources and different places say different things.
Right.
Now, it is derived from, or so it is said, that it is derived from a Japanese expression, which is oshi shinobu, and also onegai shimasu. Now, these different phrases mean different things. This is a rough translation. I don't know Japanese. Forgive me for those if I've butchered this, but this is from the internet, which is enduring under pressure, which is the first one, and then persevering when pushed. And it's this idea of like a resolution to be tough.
Yep.
Tenacity, tenaciousness, I will do this. But also, us was formerly used to call a training partner to spar or to the mat, like a invitation of sorts. That was a certain context. Now, there was another funny thing. I kind of went down a different tangent, was talking about to summons your ki, your spirit, as in like
your vital energy,
psych
right?
up. Yeah, and so in Taekwondo, we used to have the ki, ki. You had to like brace your abs and it made you like impervious to blow. Like I read something in an old book, like if you ki when you punch, then like spears won't stab you.
That's right.
This kind of shit. And it's kind of interesting, right? But
which is probably more commonly known to folks as chi in Chinese
chi,
martial
right?
arts.
Your inner energy.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was pretty interesting because I know the ki thing from years of Taekwondo, but I didn't know the us was like of a similar nature in terms of summoning, like getting super saiyan, your hair gets real big.
Right before you do the dim muck
and break that bottom brick and their pelvis shatters. But also it's interesting because another kind of Japanese translation or website was saying it is like a formal way of saying yes. Like just being in agreement. So if the instructor says something, you say us, like you're in agreement. It's like yes, sensei, like yes, I agree.
Like a here.
Yeah. Huzzah! smash a glass. So what the interesting thing for me with all this is it is a real throwback. Like it is a more traditional formal martial arts thing, because it was also in these different kind of rabbit holes I went down. It was saying it was said when people bow or when they bow off, like you were saying at the end of class. Everyone bows and everyone kind of in unison.
Yeah.
This idea of respect and formality. Now, this goes a little bit sideways because there is also osu. Now, what's interesting, our friend Simone Strongman, who I believe has done karate, he will also hit me with the osu as a sign-off.
Right.
Just if he's messaging me, you know, he's kind of joking around, but he's a funny guy. But he will hit me with that. And I believe he's had a formal karate background. So I and the meaning for that I found a few meanings. One of them was never give up, which I'm down with.
So you're saying that os and osu are two different words?
They are derived from slightly different phrases.
Right, because my understanding was they were the same.
Yeah, and I thought the same, right? But so let me go to the doctor. So there is a doctor, Mitsutani Osamu, from University of Nagoya.
Credible.
Now, yeah, he's a professor of linguistics.
Okay.
Now, in his backtracking and history of the kind of origin of osu, he had said it translates, it goes from, now I'm going to say this wrong, so forgive me, I'll try my best, ona gishumayu masu. And he said it can be derived as, please be patient with me, or please pay attention to me. Like, please look at me.
Mm.
So an instructor could be giving an instruction and then say osu, and everyone kind of has to kind of like agree with that in a way. Like it's like, so you know, you're in class and someone will say, and now I've never been to a formal karate class, so I couldn't say for sure. But you know how a coach will be like, does everyone get that? And everyone kind of goes, yes, or clap, or whatever, you know, like there needs to be
like an affirmation.
Yeah. Everybody understand this technique? You understand this
So
technique?
the coach is saying it like, please be paid, like they're offering it up.
Yes.
Right.
It could be done prior to a role, like prior to engaging in combat. Or it could be, I need your attention, but in a respectful way.
Right.
But so this took me towards Kyokushin karate, because the osu is meant to be a kind of combination of osu with one S, O-S-U, with shinobu. And that is referring to exerting pressure in karate, like be tough. That is the kind of derivative meaning there. But let's get cool. Let's get 18th century samurai, bitch. Sick.
That's actually not that long ago.
No, it's not. Like
Mad.
Yeah. It's like,
Maybe I met one.
Yeah, you might have. Yamamoto Tsunetomo. He was a samurai of the Saga clan, and they used to say when they were like riding or like...
I know that name. Did he write the Samurai Handbook, the Hagakure, by any chance?
I couldn't.
Fair enough.
Please feel free to
Don't
Google
have my
it.
device with me.
No,
but yeah,
that's
the name,
all right.
The name stands out.
But it was said like a, not necessarily a greeting, but like a positive affirmation. Like, osu, like, forge, strong. Like many soldiers, like it was also used in the Japanese Navy, in the Naval Academy, not like a salute, but it's like a greeting of sorts, like an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
And you say it to kind of be like...
term of respect and honor.
Yeah, be strong, you be strong, I be strong. Osu. Now, how did this get into BJJ? Because it's like, we do our different bits and pieces, but I do remember when I first started, there was one guy who just was similar to the guy you're talking about, just couldn't say anything without saying os. And I was just like, I knew it was I was like, that's so nerdy. Like I was just a white belt and I was like, I'm not going to say that all the time. The instructor doesn't say it, I'm not going to say it all the time, But I remember seeing a meme, which is like the woman's dying, and she said, like, Frank, I'm dying. I only have a day left. And he's like, leans in to kiss her and he says, os. He's just like, did you just say os? I didn't talk about inappropriate uses of the term. But
The greatest honor I can give you, my love.
bow. Choke. Let me put you to sleep forever.
On the show, we talk about how you can get healthy for jiu-jitsu and practices that you want to have as part of your day-to-day so that you can be in the best possible shape to train. And this is whether you're an athlete or just the everyday jiu-jitsu hobbyist. One of those habits is using electrolytes. We've spoken about this on other episodes, and electrolytes, although incredibly simple, are one of the missing links for people when it comes to performance. And the beauty of electrolytes is that they allow us to be hydrated. So we're talking about salt, potassium, and magnesium. Now, today's show is actually brought to you by Sodi, and this is a crew that we've been partnered with now. We are using Sodi on a daily basis, and the beauty of what these guys do, this little Australian company, is that they put in a beautiful mix of salt, potassium, and magnesium, and delicious flavors. You punch it in some water, I throw it into a protein shaker, I put 1 or 2 of these bad boys in there, and I drink it before, during, and after training. I just sip on that thing, and I tell you what, my hydration levels feel better than ever before, and it's delicious. Sometimes I use it first thing in the morning. I even pumped one last night because I felt a little bit parched after dinner. So go check out Sodi, SODII.com.au, and use the code Bulletproof15, and you will get 15% off your order. Get hydrated, get Sodi.
It is credited to Carlson Gracie, actually. Senior. Carlson Gracie Senior. There's, someone else, I'm sure someone in the comments gave it. No, it wasn't.
Carlson Senior, who's that?
Carlson Gracie Senior. So there's Carlson Gracie Junior.
Right. Who's of great fame, Vitor Belfort, like Rio de Janeiro gym.
His father.
Okay.
And so from this, it's all on the internet, people. Don't get too upset. It was said that he had taken it from judo and karate to apply it to their jiu-jitsu in Brazil, and it was a sign of respect or deference. So if your coach said something to you and you say, "Us," you're like honoring them in some way.
Right.
That was a way to greet people with respect. But here's the thing. It can mean anything in jiu-jitsu. I read about 5 different blog posts and people like, it means yes, and it means hello, and it means, I was like, you motherfuckers need to make up your minds. The informality of jiu-jitsu is just like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It basically means it can mean anything.
Right on.
But he was
kind of word.
Yeah. Yeah. Us, bro. Us. What was interesting was, and this is where it kind of came full circle, was I don't remember when the clap came in. The 1, 2 clap or 1, 2, 3 clap.
I never grew up with the clap.
No, neither did I. Neither did I. And chlamydia either. But otherwise known as the clap. But it's interesting that it got popular at some point. The gyms stopped, because some gyms might have a way for everyone to say yes or whatever, to be in agreement. But really, the time that I heard us, and I actually heard it at a judo gym, where the coach was like, everyone understand? And everyone was like, us. No clapping. No. Now we go do the thing. Mutual understanding. Now, I don't know where the origin of the clap came in, but it was at some point.
It came from a kid's class.
It might have been. All right, everyone, can we clap in time? Yeah. Excellent.
Oh, you guys are so good. No, don't clap on 4. I want you to clap on 3. Okay, that's the one that comes after 2. Okay, got it, everyone? There's
we know how to count?
A bunch of brown belts. You're like, clapped on 2 again. Shit.
There's always someone who doesn't clap in sync.
Bro, that's one of Misa's favorite of all time Instagram memes was, the iconic BJJ Fanatics cover.
Yeah.
And one of them was, it was a whole Fanatics DVD on how to clap on 3. And and it was says all this funny shit, but the chapter breakdown was how to not clap on 2, how to not clap on 4.
Yeah, that's awesome. But here's the thing. I went through. I put too much time. It's been the holidays, people. So I probably put too much time on this.
Protein, JT had to do something else.
I did have to do something else. So I was searching madly, and I think the end conclusion for me is os in jiu-jitsu was originally the agreement. Everybody agreeing. Instructor says, "Do this thing. We all ready? We good?" Everyone says os. At some point, at whatever critical point it was, that was too formal. People don't do that, or we're not into that. We don't do that. Somehow the clap comes in and replaces that, because I haven't heard anyone say os in a jiu-jitsu gym in 5 or 6 years.
Oh, have you not?
No.
As in, not in a group context like that.
No one's saying it.
Right. You get it as a little one-on-one every now and again, right?
Well, I get usually it's people saying it's actually usually Ariel to back, just trolling people.
He's a very respectful person.
He is very respectful, but he jokes around with it.
I still use it, and this is where it's been like bastardized to many degrees.
Sure.
And I think I got this from a Brazilian guy I used to train with, Pedro. But usually when you were slapping hands, and it's like a usa kind of like
let's go
big playful kind of
right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I still do that quite a bit when it's a bit of a high energy role with someone like
sure.
you know that you got that vibe with.
Yeah, yeah.
But
were you summoning your key? Your chi?
No, I'm not. I'm probably letting it go. Actually, I should stop doing that. Yeah, just internalize it. So you're positing there that perhaps we had the us in jiu-jitsu before, but the clap
has replaced it in a way because people aren't bowing like they used to. Like at judo, you bow when you walk on the mat, right?
I don't know if we ever had us in jits, at least not in my experience.
Right.
Because it was never formal enough.
Right.
It was kind of just like, everyone got it, all right, let's go. And then like some people are doing it, some people are not. And the coach is like, what are you guys doing? Do the technique. And it's like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think the getting rid of...
I'm excited.
Why's that?
We have an apparel sponsor, Parry Athletic.
Bro, George came through, messaged us on the Instagram, said he's been following our program for ages. He's getting stronger and more mobile. And he's got this cool gear company called Parry, and he wants to send us some stuff.
And he told me that his mission was to create the best pair of training shorts ever.
Yeah, he wanted something that he could lift and roll in, and that could accommodate thick, muscular thighs and hips.
And that suits us.
Speaks to us.
Also, what I like is I love the colorful design. It actually looks really cool.
I am the most colorful dude on the mats these days, hands down.
I think the thing that I've loved about it is just it feels good. It feels good. It looks good. And you, ladies and gentlemen, can get a discount when you go to checkout. If you go to parryathletics.com, put in the code bulletproof20 and you get 20% off. Oh yeah.
Like there's many layers of getting rid of formality, right? Okay, we're not bowing now, and there's no photos on the wall, and now there's no us, and there's no warm-ups, and that's, like there's all these different things.
Hip-hop music playing during training.
Heavy metal, what the hell? But interesting. I just think it's interesting to see how the practice of jiu-jitsu evolves, and then certain things kind of fall out of. Maybe there'll be a resurgence. Maybe it'll come back. It'll get real popular. I don't know. It's just really funny to me because I never knew.
Do you say it?
No.
Never.
I do bow when I walk on the mat, and I do generally bow when I leave the mat, but that's Taekwondo. I learned that from Taekwondo.
Yep.
So it's very ingrained in me. I've been doing that since I was 10 years old.
I like that. I impose that on myself because I think that that's like a minimum standard
to respect.
Yeah, that should be applied to the mats.
Yeah.
I quite like the us. You know what when I throw it out every now and again, it's usually in that kind of ridiculous way. To me, it's like I think, because here's the tricky part about researching. It's like when you look at the definition of jiu-jitsu and it's like, oh, the gentle art. And then it's like, no, it means the way. Oh, no, it means. Yeah. And you're like, God damn it. Like, it's very hard to find you cannot find a direct English translation for Japanese words, which goes a long way to showing how inept the English language is at times
to articulate those
That's
things.
right? A sentiment or a meaning. But so acknowledging that it's been bastardized to many degrees, I like it as a way of acknowledging, this is just something that's in my head when I say it, that we're engaging in something very ancient here, right? Like the mats, and we're not on tatami mats, right? We're on like vinyl covered foam or whatever.
Sure.
But the mats, the dojo, like the art of exchanging, whether it's sparring or drilling or whatever, like this is an ancient practice.
Yes.
Right? And it's been practiced by generations of hobbyists and stuff, but also
warriors,
right? Like people who have died, like this has been a life and death pursuit for them.
Yeah.
And, or tool, let's say, right?
Something to survive.
Exactly. And so I kind of like it in the same way of bowing when I step on and off, that it's like an acknowledgement of that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it so that the other person thinks like that. It's kind of just re-articulating it for myself.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I'm more traditional than you, motherfucker. I'm more ancient warrior than you are. No, I think that's
You've
awesome.
probably never even heard of Yamamoto Tsunimoto, have you? Or even read the Samurai Handbook?
Leg lock.
I only read that book because of Ghost Dog, by the way.
Oh, because of the different sayings in there.
yeah,
the
remember he
samurai
quotes
sayings?
it throughout because he's a
Yeah.
samurai. He's a modern day samurai.
I got that album.
yeah. Yes, Reza, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The RZA. And I mean, it's interesting because it's got, Forrest, is it Forrest Whitaker? He reads those passages. It's in the album. I got the
Oh, wow.
got the kind of Wu-Tang album. Like the soundtrack is basically a Wu-Tang album.
Yep.
And it has him reading the different passages
Mad.
about, there's one which is interesting because it's like when there is a storm, running in between eaves will not stop you from getting wet. It is better just to
walk
through the rain. Yeah. Or like when approaching an opponent, you must go in headlong. And, you have to go full force. And even if you were to be beheaded or killed, you should still be able to complete a final action.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Dude, the one that stuck with me is all decisions should be made within the space of seven breaths.
Yeah, I used to use that.
Yeah, which I right, the sentiment is powerful.
You got to focus and just do it. I used to do that when I was procrastinating with squats. Just like,
7 breaths,
seven
bitch.
breaths, baby. I got to get this.
I'll start counting on the next one. On the next one.
7 breaths and lightweight, baby. Get that in there. But I always think about wearing the gi. That I feel very connected to, like the history of martial arts.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, people used to wear this kind of under their samurai armor, or like for thousands of years, people would wear attire like this and fight to the death.
Yeah.
And so it's armor in a way, like I think of it in that way, but it's also like a weapon because you can use your gi against your opponent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely find that like grounding, and that's, it's for me. I don't say that shit to anyone, but I just sit there cross-legged and think of myself, samurai.
Yeah, I mean, I think for anyone, when you're like tucking in the gi, tying your belt, like there's a moment there where you're like, or if there's not for you, there's an opportunity for a moment where you're like, wow, this is some ancient shit.
Yeah, there's something cool to that. And I mean, for many people, they don't give a shit about that. They're like, we got UFC now. That.
Yeah, but Donnie will fuck you up.
True.
Maybe he will.
He probably will. But no, I think there is part of the reason why I like to bring this up is there have been people asking me like, what the fuck does OS mean? That's weird. And I didn't have a good answer. That's why I felt like it was good to go have a dig around, look at a few different sources, and then create a topic for discussion.
Dude, I like it. I like your investigation there. Tell me, do you believe it's a term that should be used in jiu-jitsu? Are you for or against?
No, I'm with it, but I wish that in a BJJ context it had more meaning.
Right.
It seems very clear in karate or judo or in other contexts, it's clear.
Yeah.
Or it was clear at one stage. Whereas now I was looking through, what does this mean in jiu-jitsu? It doesn't mean shit. It's just kind of like, it's whatever meaning you care to make of it. But I think that's good. I think you being able to choose like, right, this is the right time, or this is the right way to say it, or all derivatives mean being kind of stoic or being tough or willing to endure tough times or hard work, which is good. So I think that's all good. I don't see there being a problem with it unless, speaking to a dying relative or whatever. That's it, my friends.
Mad.
Perfect. We back.
So